Um, so hello everybody. I'm going to be talking about a little bit more advanced application form builder stuff today. Yesterday we just, advanced report builder stuff today, one of those builders. And yesterday we saw how you could just kick in to the administrative part of report builder admin, and you could name yourself a report, my new sales report or whatever, and pick a couple of columns. And I think we even got as far as some super duper advanced stuff like coloring client statuses or client types or whatever. Today we're going to get into a little bit more advanced stuff. So again, the main idea is that you have this massive asset of data that grows as you use all of the richness of Accelerate's system. So if you work in HR, it may be that you want to pull back reports to do with applicants and how long it takes applicants to go down the funnel. If you work in sales, you want to see how long it takes people to go down the sales funnel. You might want a different kind of sales forecast or a sales forecast that works out your commission or whatever. And of course, the same extends to the finance team, to management overall, who want to see how many people that there are ready in the event that you did win that contract where you need 400 people and they have to have a certain language or a certain qualification and so on. And then if you look at all of these areas here of booking, you can report on all those areas too. And the reason we've got, remember I gave you a quiz yesterday of 3-letter and 2-letter acronyms. The reason that we have got um, the, the acronym BDU, Business Data Universe, is because you can see there's a big chunk of data space here that you'd want to pull from. And it's not possible to make any, reports connect every one of these blue squares, but it is possible to make them to get enough of the data from enough squares to be able to do really quite comprehensive reports. The other thing I would say, as we're doing advanced um, reports admin, is do take into account it's a completely ad hoc query tool. You can build your reports from nothing, and you can build them for the purposes of a management meeting. If you're quick enough, in 10 minutes time, you can find out who your top salespeople is or the number of bookings that came in last month. And because it's ad hoc, it's very quick and very flexible to build a new query to get the data out. You could export it as a CSV, you can do all the things that you would expect. But what you may not be able to do is to have a report which will run instantly when it comes back. So we've really focused on the flexibility and the ability of the report to be manipulated and changed and to make it flexible for getting out. But there are some reports when they run, you need to go and have a cup of tea while they run. So I hope you understand that trade-off. Um, if it's an operational report, we might have done it quickly. So yesterday we went through the report creation wizard as a good way to find out which business data module you're working with. And we even created our own reports. I introduced it to you the area of dashboards. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to be focusing in on the very important area of setting up security. Since March 25th, 2018, I believe, when the GDPR became law, we are equally responsible as data processor as you are our clients as data controllers for the responsibility for GDPR. So that means if somebody complains that there's been a data breach and their telephone number and their bank details were let go, then we could potentially be involved in that, unfair as we both feel it, but it could just be that that the management of your company simply hasn't been stricter about setting up the security for reporting. Remember, once somebody gets reports admin, they can report on anything, finance, GDPR, and so on. So this is quite a responsibility, and I would hope that somebody who's a super user or somebody who has reports admin would be trusted by the board of the company, and the board could therefore be quite happy that these people are producing the reports and giving the reports to those people for whom it is appropriate. So I wouldn't expect a salesperson to be able to see the bank details of staff. I would not expect necessarily some of the confidential sales prospect lists to be available to certain people in the business. So we're going to be starting on that right away. The other bits are really about creating reports. There's an awful lot of actions you can do. Once you bring the data back, you often want to update it, or you want to mail the people on the list or whatever. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on now. Security. So without further ado, once again, I'm going to try and make this 90% demo. What I have got is I have got an example here. In fact, that was for the dashboard part. I have got an example here where we can affect security. So if we take any report in Reports Admin, let's go to our reports page, and remember the reports in the reports page map onto the reports in admin. So if you want to edit this report, the applicant status report, then what you can do is you can go to reports admin via this cog here, which is the admin cog. And within reports admin, staff application form status, remember, comes up here as the top of the staff application form status. So if we wanted to go in and configure that report, we can change the columns on it, and we'll be looking at that later. But more importantly, I'll just let Chris in. More importantly, we can change the security. So this thing is just coming back now, bringing back the columns. So this report here brings back full name, job application status, and so on and so forth. And as you can see, you're allowed a CSV link so long as this is not ticked. And secondly, because exporting comma separated variable lists from any part of the system is obviously a highly secure area that you want to be able to stop. So the idea was, for even if I don't tick this and the export, if we look at the report here, can you see there's an export button here? This would have to be unticked for me to see that, this export button here. And B, in my user admin, as the person I'm logged into on this demo system, I have to have a tick by allowed to export CSVs. So there's two blocks to somebody exporting CSVs. Exporting CSVs of customers and staff, obviously being one of the biggest crimes that can happen to any knowledge-based company. So on this report here called Staff Application Form Status, if I go over here and find it, or any report, I'm going to go to Staff Application Form Status. So, whoops, Staff Application Form Status. Staff Application Form Status. There it is. You can see there it is. And what I can do is I can say only administration can see it, or I might say territory sales and business development may not see it. So salespeople can't see that, but an administrator can, and also somebody who is in who has employee admin or whatever. So that way I will still be able to see it. But if I was to say no, I can't do that, but administrators can't see it, then it would even disappear on my report builder page if I was to save that. Although some other things might prevent that happening, but if I save that and say I'm not allowed to see it and do this, then can you see it's disappeared? Now, luckily, because I'm a super user, I can go back in here and do the sensible thing and bring it back. Now, most customers that we go to see, and this is why I'm laboring the security part of this for those of you who are super users or directors of your company, or have horrible responsibilities as well as the fun of being a director of a company and an entrepreneur. Most of the customers that we support, when we share their screen, we find they haven't actually done this simple box ticking exercise to say these guys can see this, these guys should not see finance. And it's obviously very, very important as a super user, well, as a director, that you choose the right super users if computing isn't your thing, and that the super user, I'm just going to hit save so that comes back for me, so that the super user sets it up so that the right people see the right things. So there's quite a lot of responsibility and skill in being a super user. So that's the security element of it, and we've looked at CSV export. Don't forget, somebody doesn't necessarily have to have CSV export. You should remove it from any users that don't need to have it, and I can't see why anybody would need to have it unless they're specifically involved with exporting CSVs of collected data from clients and stuff. Most of the information can be grabbed from the system. The other really simple thing is look at all of the information that somebody can get on this reports page. So if you take any particular user on here, in your user admin, you can very easily, wherever my user admin has popped up, you can very easily take any user on here. Now she's probably a staff user. Needs to be not a, yeah, she's a staff user, so bad example. Let's take me. So there's far too many things ticked here, but you can see that I could untick CSV export, and I could also untick view reports. I'm not going to do that for obvious reasons. I'm not going to hit save, but the point is you can prevent people exporting CSV exports, and you can prevent people even seeing reports. And then you can, if people complain and say, oh, hey, I need this report to do my job, then you can just allow them to see that report. There's no reason for everybody in your business to see every single report in the business. It's a security issue. And if you're a 3-person company and everybody mucks in, then that's fine. But as your business grows, you need to deal with people walking into your business with the respect that they deserve. They could easily be your competition in 2 days' time. So now we have a bunch of reports. Let's have a look at some more advanced report building. If I just move this aside to go back to the agenda here. We're now going to look at, so we've looked at exporting data. I'll just give you a quick one more point about that. There are various things that if you export to a CSV, so let's take our reports here, and let's say I exported this client list to a CSV. As you can see, there are a bunch of options here that come up as to how you want to export it. I would say as you get into the more advanced sections of exporting to CSVs, don't forget that the most likely program that will open a CSV on your system is Microsoft Excel. And Microsoft Excel will do very funny things. So it will take phone numbers without spaces in them, and it'll say those are just numbers, and it'll turn them into exponentials. So instead, it'll think that instead of saying it's 0777777, it'll say it's basically 7.7 to the power of whatever. So it'll put an exponential on it. Dates, it'll sometimes turn into Julian dates, which are like 7 or 8 digit numbers or something based on, I don't know, Jules' birthday. I don't know, some date I can't remember in the past. So don't forget, if you open it in Excel, it's immediately going to corrupt your file. So be aware of whether you're going to bring it in with wrapped in quotes, and be aware that things like telephone numbers, job numbers, and things like that may be manipulated by Excel. A good way to deal with that is to make sure you always have spaces in telephone numbers. Make sure that your any numbers with a 0 on them are treated as text, and so on. But once it gets into Excel, Excel takes over, and we get quite a few support calls. And as the company that provides this, we can't say, look, it's Excel's fault. I mean, we try, but basically people don't understand that, but I hope you will as super users. The reason that there are other options there is if you have a continental subsidiary, then on the continent, in the same way as we do day, month, year, well, the whole world does, but America does month, day, year. On the continent, I've never figured this out, they don't have a decimal point, they have a decimal comma, and they have points in between the triple zeros of thousands and millions. So we have to have various options for exporting CSVs. And I'm sure you are now done with CSVs. Let's get back on with building reports. So yesterday I showed you how you could build this report. Was it this report? I'm not sure. It doesn't matter. I think it was a simple customer report. And today I am going to show you, if I may, let me just refresh this. I'm just going to pick another report so that I can refresh it. So if I go to, I think it was job application status change, somewhere around here. I'm going to go to, let me just go back into this and just grab one. So this one here is much closer. Applicant status is, I think, much closer to the ones that you're using in your daily work if you're in HR. We'll also be looking at booking reports today because there's a lot of really useful stuff to get out of booking reports, but we'll focus more on it for the finance area. So here's a report, and you can see that there's stuff have filled out some application forms, including the ones that you kindly did a few sessions ago, clearly on the 24th of August session that we did. And I've brought back a couple of columns in this so that we can see some of the data that's associated with those applications. So for example, are they an active employee? What's their contact status? Because these people would have been imported, and then some of them would have been promoted to staff and given a contact status. Most of these people are registered. Some have a job offer made. Now you may want to find counts of all of those. You may want to graph it. There's all sorts of things that you want to do with reported data. Obviously, one thing you can do is export it into Excel and use pivot tables and do nice graphs, but you can do quite a lot in the system now, and you can build your own dashboards. So that report, if I just pop that away, is configured here. Which one was it? Was it this one? I think it was this one we were looking at, applicant status. So if I bring that back, then I can see all of the columns that I've added, and I can also add more columns, as you know. I think we did that to death yesterday. But I just wanted to show you a couple of things here. So number one, you might want to draw a graph of it. So the way that you can do that is I've taken here as a possibility that we take the unique folks here, and I wanted a count by the number of people, and I'm going to graph by, if you go to these, if you go into these fields here, you can see that you can actually, do you remember yesterday we looked at various different contact colors and things? So the available styling on here, if I just pop that in, so with job application status, so I'm going to actually just put on here the job application status background and foreground colors. They will be, as you know, in your job application status, if I can find it still, here we go, in your job application status drop down as admin. So it looks like we've only got one color on there, or two colors or something. But if I looked at, for say, contact created, you'll recall that we can pick a color like that, and we can say, well, if I pick text color, let's say that's blue. I'll leave the background white. So if I save that now, you can see that contact created, wherever it's gone, save. There we are. That's now got a white background and blue. So that's how you can do one type of available styling with the styling that comes and that you'll be familiar with in all of the other searches. But you can also do your own styling. You can do conditional styling. So you could here create, it'd be silly because you've got consistent job application statuses, but you'll remember that you can put in rules where if you've got numbers like scores in tests, you can say anything above 90 goes purple, anything from 80 to 89 goes red, or whatever. So you can use that conditional styling for that. But this is about graphs. If you wanted to do a graph, you can graph by job application status, which is the field that I've picked here to open out, and you can then say on a count of names. So you're basically going to count the number of unique names and then graph by it. So if I now just hit save there, then a couple of things happen to this report. If I go to, I think it was the application status one that I picked. So up it comes. I'm now going to do this, and you'll notice that I've got the colors in there from the drop-downs admin. So contact creatives are all blue. These ones are all whatever color it was in drop-downs admin. I wonder if I can easily get back to drop-downs admin. No, I may have closed drop-downs admin, but you'll recall that there were different colors in there. There were some that were red. I can't see them at the moment. I can't remember which ones they were, but they can't be represented in this report. So the next thing is I can draw it as a graph. And because I've defined what kind of graph I want, whoops, I can say I want to see a bar chart. And you can also graph multiple things in here, but I want to see a graph of a bar chart. And this is the number of different people in the different categories. So I'm not sure if you can see that, but if I just zoom in a little bit, let me just Control plus. There we go. No, I've just Control minus, bring it back to size. That says not set. In other words, they don't have a job application status. There's this many people, about 5 in applied, about 12 it looks like in contact created, and in this one here there's 58 in registered. So you can draw graphs. Now this graph is pretty naff, it's an older one, and the reason for that is that we're looking, and many of you will be on 18.03, but if I just quickly dig out a customer who's on 18.07 and look at their report builder. I'll just quickly bring up their report builder. Bear with me a moment. So if I bring up a customer that's on 18.07 and quickly grab a similar bring up a similar configuration. Here we are, vacancies and applicants report. Then if I look at job application status in here, well, it doesn't know which field it is. You can also see conditioning, styling, all the things you saw before, but you can also see graphing rules. And in graphing rules, they have the ability to choose different colors. So you can say, if this is this, then it's going to be this color. If it's blue, it's going to be yellow. And you can keep on adding as many of those rules as you wish. So you can effectively choose the colors of your graphs in 18.07 there. So that's like a slightly later version of this, because we really didn't like these, what do we call this, salmon or something color, but it's done for a little while. So sooner or later, your report builders will be upgraded and you'll be able to choose the colors of the graphs on there. So that's graphs, and you can see that there is a choice of different graphs that you can get. This is report builder that we're looking at here, and these are reports that come out of them. To get out of the chart, by the way, and get back to drill down into the numbers, you can do this. There are also things called grids, and grids are you can edit them in line, and they are also they have a more advanced graphing package, and they have various other benefits which I'll go on to later. But we're probably doing more advanced courses on grids and portal building next year. The portals are already being used on your systems for the new Accelerate applicant tracking system, and I don't know if I've got any examples up here. I think I did put some on this. Yes, it's here actually. So I'm just going to whip through very quickly because I got rid of all these demos. I can't remember where the one is where I've got to, there's a few here I've got to hide some personal data and some private data and stuff. But I believe this one here, yeah, so this one here is an example. This is just a report. This is exactly the same as the reports that you see in your report builder here. Where are we? You know, if you were to click on one of, sorry about this. So if you were to click on one of these reports, oh, back here. So these reports here can be restyled. So this report here is for another type of organization, but you can see that we've got buttons down the right sides using our portal builder, and we've created a complete application, and these are the reports. And in the same way as you have job application status colors, they have proposal status colors in this particular industry, and you can see various different again, it's demo data, so it doesn't matter if it comes up, but you can see various different pieces of information that we've built into a portal-based system here. So we'll be showing you how to build these portals and build your own applications based on reports coming back and various screens that you can build. This one here, I'll just show you very quickly, is one of the graphs with the new colors. This one here is a government one, also built on portals. These are reports that you can see here. So this one has no personal data in it, because what it is it's a list of assets, and they're data assets where these local government organizations often have 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 data assets which they need to report upon, and they need to make sure that they're keeping up to date with are they being cleaned, are they being maintained, are they being destroyed when they're supposed to not be retained anymore, and so on. But you can see you can build your own menus of these reports. So that's very similar to building dashboards here, and you can produce reports with tiles and also if we take this here, you can see that all of these things here are reports as well. So you can bring information into reports, and then you can set it up in different screens. I guess if we were to look at the details of a company as well, then probably if we look at Accelerate Demo Company, so there's the Accelerate Demo Company, and if you were to look at the events that that company has, you can see that there's reports there as well. So go back to the dashboard. I think I showed you that I was going to show you some other reports-based portals, but the important thing about that is that when you go to the reports admin page, which I'm just going to find once again, there he is. When you go to the reports admin page, in with the security, you can decide what page it goes on. So do you remember this screen here, where if you pick a report like applicant status, which was the one that we've been looking at, presently it's on the report page. But if you look at the other systems, it could be that it's on the client portal, or it could be that it's on the sales dashboard, or the support dashboard, or Rick's dashboard, or Tony's dashboard, or whatever. And so in here, for example, where's my dashboard? Yeah, so on my screen every morning, I see, apart from being scolded for not having completed support calls or whatever, but if I go onto my screen each morning, I have the support calendar, and I also have various different dashboards. So this here, you'll see, is very like a reports page, except I put some pictures as well as report names on here. So, but it's exactly the same. And if I was to go into our reports admin here, you will see that I've got the normal reports page on this second tab, but I've also got a drop down so that I can look at the various different dashboards on here as well. So, and I think there's 4 or 5 of those, but you can create a new dashboard quite easily. There's a thing called dashboard admin, so that you can put more dashboards in there, and that's available. I think you may probably, many of you will find dashboards admin ready for building dashboards in your system, and you should find it, I believe, in dropdowns admin. I think that's where dashboard admin is. Again, we'll be doing a training course on this next year, but Control F, DASH. Yeah, there we are, dashboards admin. And you can see in here, we've got various different dashboards for different folks and for different departments. So you'll be able to do that, and you'll be able to put whatever support calls or bookings or whatever, and you can, so that means that you can have a whole department that just see the things they need to see, because part of the challenge with accelerators, as you're aware, is if you look at a product with, and this is just a small schematic, obviously we have lots and lots more boxes here, so it can be very overwhelming. So we might just want to give the talent team, and many talent teams now don't see all of this stuff. If they're super users, they can go and see it if they want to by choice, but they just see each day the list of jobs that they're advertising, and they click on it and they find out where people have come from, how many applicants they have, and so on. So I wanted to talk about next, I wanted to talk about report builder actions. And there are very many actions that you can do in reports, but the, the the way to get to those report builder actions, and this is a good example, is once you've built your report and you've decided what columns you want, whether or not people aren't allowed to see CSVs, whether there's tick box to be able to choose which people you want to do stuff to, you can say, I would like to be able to update the data, so I want to make it updatable, or I want to make the report read only. And I want to be able to send people notifications, start chats, send texts, and do bulk emails. So if I do that and I save all those, then if I go back to Chrome and get my reports back out again, back in reports here, if I refresh my reports and look at what was I on, applicant status, so if I just refresh that, bring all the applicants back, you can see in here that I could, oh, there's no tick boxes. I must have, maybe I didn't save. Yeah, save, and I'm on, oh, staff application form status. So let's go back to that. So staff application form status. There we go. So now you can see I can bulk text, I can start chat, and I've got tick boxes down the side here. So if I refresh this and just bring a bunch of people back, and I might say, right, all of these people here, and let's say anybody who applied after the 7th of, let's say, August, and who is, let's say, applied. So these people have just created an application form, and this person is applied. So I only want the people who have, let's say, contact created. So I go contact created, just get those guys. And I might want to write to all of them except this guy that I was just speaking to on the phone, and he's going to finish this thing anyway. I might want to write to all of them so I can send them a text or I can send them a bulk email. So back comes this list. So it knows who it's going to send to. It's going to send to all of the people that I ticked. And I'm going to send an inline message. I might actually have a template to send them. So you can create these templates. But if not, if it's just an ad hoc thing, I can put the subject line in, complete your form, or did you have a problem completing the form, or whatever. Can we help you complete your form? Can you complete your form, or whatever. And then you say hi. And remember, the reason that we say hi in here is because, and I've got an example here, if I can just dig it out, there it is. This is a mail shot I got from China, as you can see, this very morning. And it was a test mail shot. Who would make a mistake like that? Can you believe sending a test mail shot out to customers? I don't know. And because they don't know my first name, how impersonal, they've put dear and a comma. So we always say hi or hello. That way, if for whatever reason you haven't got their first name on the system, this is a bit of a tip for tomorrow. If for whatever reason you haven't got their first name, it doesn't show, it just says hi and it's still friendly, but it doesn't say, by the way, we don't know what your first name is. So then don't forget, don't put X in the first name if you don't know it, just leave it blank. So hi, contact first name, can we help you with whatever? So you put your words in and you send that mail shot out. So reports are not just for bringing data back and exporting to CSVs and doing funky graphs, but they can also be very active parts of your working day and can save a lot of trouble. Now, what you can also do is, it may be that you look at all the people who have applied 6 months ago and not got past contact created, and then you tick the lot of them and you say, I'm only looking at the contact created people. So let's just refresh that. So just the contact created people. I would set this date to before, where are we? Before. It's in here somewhere. There we go, before. Now there's not going to be any in there, which is a shame. Oh yes, there are some. So I think we can safely say these people aren't really interested. They've taken a month. We've mailed them twice. So what we can do is you can use the report to bulk update data. So I've chosen all of these folks here. I might say, but not Laura, because we spoke to her and she promises that she will. And what we can do is we can bulk update their data. So we can change their job application status to rejected or didn't bother finishing it, click update, and all of those people's status will be, i.e. all the four first people who are being ticked and who hence have that little, that you can't see where I'm pointing, who have that little pencil by their name, i.e. they have these 4 tick boxes here. You can update those so you can very, very quickly deal with a whole bunch of applicants. Now, likewise, you can deal with a whole bunch of bookings and change the booking statuses. You can deal with a whole bunch of all kinds of lists. You can process lists very quickly and update data. So it's a really, really good admin tool. Texting from a report is just the same. You won't be surprised to hear that if you have a report like this, instead of sending an email shot, what you can do is you can bulk text, in which case it's going to go to these 4 people, and it looks like they don't have a mobile number. So that saved me quite a lot of time and effort. Normally those guys would have a mobile number and you would have a box to type in. And so because there's no telephone numbers on here, then clearly there's no box to type any text in. But normally there'd be a box to type text in. Don't forget, keep your texts to under 180 characters. If you make it over 180 characters, then you're going to be paying for 2 units. Forgive me, I can't remember if it's 160 or 180, but if you make it too long, you're going to be paying for 2 units every time you send that text, which we don't want to do. And notifications and chat, obviously, those are for people who have the Accelerate app and can receive those notifications and chats. So there's notification and there's chat. So if I was to start a chat with these folks here, they're not promoted, so they don't have the app, so I can't do it. But if they did have the app, I would be able to do it. And I think there are some other demos which we have shown you, but we'll have a look at that when we deal with the app part of the thing anyway. So updating via report, changing colors, and then other functions. When we get to e-learning, we'll be having a look at QB results. Client portals, there's lots of reports on client portals with coloring so that the client can see the report as well. And then, of course, the skill is to make sure that you have moderated that data before the client sees it. So you would put a filter on that report so that the client only sees the stuff that is approved. Likewise, you can put colors on so that the client says, if the client says, I want to see those people who were late for their shifts in blue, or I want to see all of those people who weren't on site for more than an hour for lunch. You can do all that kind of stuff using the geo tracking. And then I think I've kind of covered dashboards, but I suspect that dashboards, portals, and that whole area will need a specialist training course. Now, tomorrow, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing newsletter builder. And then on Thursday, we're going to be carrying on the report area and getting more into the kind of finances and payroll, bookings, a little bit about audit trail, which is so important if you do have a dispute as to who did what or who approved what and so on. But tomorrow we're going to be new newsletter builder. So it's a little bit less technical. It's quite a fun thing to do. And but I think for most people, I don't need to stress how important newsletter builder is. It's a way to communicate with your staff. It's a way to communicate with your customers. And you'll all have, by virtue of the fact you're here, I'm assuming you've received our newsletters and it's got you to this session. And likewise, we're building the sessions up with more and more people all the time, because the newsletter function allows us to tell people and remind people and send out quizzes and send out links to the data